Hi, my name is Kiara Furrer, and I'm a Sports Medicine 3 student at South Dial High School. And for my project number 2, I did motion analysis of tumbling. My goal of this program was to improve upon the tricks my client already had and to make them more consistent and have better technique when performing them. Improving upon these more basic tricks will allow my client to be able to progress to more difficult tricks and have an easier way of doing them. My client is an 18-year-old who has been doing gymnastics and tumbling for about 7 years, and he competes with these tricks in many of his routines. My first trick I'm going to be doing is a back walkover. In the back walkover, as you can see in this video, her legs are straight and she goes straight back into it. Once again, she arches her back and goes straight back into it with straight legs, pointed feet, and straight arms. As you can see in my client's first attempt, during this, my client was not able to keep his legs straight, and he was not showing his full split in the middle of the walkover, and at the very beginning of it, he goes backwards into it instead of straight. I told my client these points and had him work on them, and then this was his attempt after working on these points for about 2 weeks. In this video, you could see his legs are straightened, he shows more of a split in the middle, he went straight into the back bend instead of twisting into it, and he didn't put weight on the leg that he kicked over. The second trick I performed was a front walkover. This is the example. As you can see, she goes straight into it, straight legs, and arches up with her head coming up last. In my client's first attempt, his legs were not completely straight at all. His leg did not come up last, and he did not push his hips up to stand, which is why he fell at the end, and his arms should end above his head. After telling him these points and having him work on them, this was his results. You could see that his legs are much more straightened. He pushes his hips forward. He ends with his arms above his head, and he arches his back as he comes up from the front walkover. The third and final trick I performed was a side aerial. Here's the example. As you can see, she goes straight into it with straight legs. Her arms go into her back and she lands. In my client's first attempt, his arms were not straight, which caused him to have to put them down. His arms did not swing back at all. His legs were bent, and he needs to lift more so that his hands don't touch the ground during the move. After having him work on them, this is what the results were. His arms were definitely more straightened, and they swung back and into his back while being straight. His legs were straighter in the air, and he lifted more and got height. The only thing that could still use some more improvement in his side aerial would be getting his legs all the way straight throughout the entire trick. Seeing from the progression of the initial videos to the final videos, I was able to see much improvement with all the coaching points I gave him, and even the points I didn't give that were fixed just because the other things were getting fixed allowed him to fix things that didn't get pointed out at first. Since these basic tricks were fixed, it is now easier to progress onto his harder and more complicated tricks. Thank you.